general elections keep drawing closer, it is important that things be put straight, unambiguous and transparent for Nigerians. Recently, ahead of the 2023 general election, there have been talk on fundraising by political parties. Is it legal? Those are the questions that are coming on board. Well, let's find out from the position of the law. This is 7 Legal, and I am Austin Beatrice Sinam. Let's go on a quick commercial break. Alright, joining me today in the program to analyze and put straight all of these controversies. Now, in the position of the law is Barrister Obinna Onya. Barrister Obinna Onya is the assistant head of the Chambers. Barrister Obinna, thanks for joining me in the program today.
Good afternoon, it's my pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you around. Alright, let's, you had the controversy recently trailing, of course, within the political space over the issue of fundraising. In fact, particularly it was focused on the candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, talking about going to sort for fund, outside of the country. But it is not whether going to sort for fund outside. But we just want to get what the position of the law is. Give us a systematic and detailed analysis of fundraising. Yes.
Thank you very much. The starting point of the problem is that elections is an expensive process.
Okay.
To compete actively in the electoral process, you need a lot of money.
Okay.
And the truth of the matter is that most political parties, or the frontline political parties in the country, all engage in different exercises to ensure that they have the funds to prosecute the elections. And for a presidential election of this nature, across the 36 states of the Federation, across the number of local governments, across the number of wards, across the number of polling units in the political parties, you see that it requires a lot of money.
Yeah.
And some people have interpreted this money to be structure, whatever you decide to call it.
Yeah.
But you see, the point is that it is capital intensive.
Sure.
You need people at all the polling units in the wards. You need agents at all the wards. You need agents at the local government level. You need people to campaign. Campaigns are expensive. You need generators. You need vehicles. You need all manner of logistics. Ward by ward, polling unit by polling unit, local government by local government. So you see that it's a discussion that must come up, especially for a political party like the Labour Party, that has not had this national. It's been there. The party has been there for some time now, but it has not had this dominance in the political space. So you find out that they have to struggle. They don't have a structure. There's no serving governor from the Labour Party.
Structure here is your
structure.
money.
Yes, I interpret structure to not necessarily money, but it's not far from money.
Okay.
Because for you to be able to summon meetings in political parties, you need to have those meetings at venues. Those venues have to be paid for. You have to provide some light refreshment at those venues. Somebody has to pay for them. So you find out that there is no structure without money. That's the bitter truth. That's the sad truth. Yes, I understand that the Peter Obi movement is unique. It's an exception to the regular process where we say, okay, the people are tired of the status quo, and so this is a people-driven movement, or I don't want to call it revolution. But you see that it's all a money conversation. Now, what does the law say? The starting point is that election funding is first regulated by the Constitution. The Constitution has said that foreign funds should not be allowed to be used to fund political parties.
Because that have been the area of argument.
It's constitutional. It's not even the Electoral Act. It's the provision of the Constitution. One of the reasons for this is that is state security. If foreign funds are easily allowed to be brought in to Nigeria to influence elections, it's very easy. Any country who has an interest in Nigeria's economy, or has economic interest or interest in raw materials, or can easily raise some money and fund a political party to capture state power. So for state security, it makes sense that the law restricts funding from international, from outside Nigeria.
Okay.
Now, such funds are supposed to be warehoused. So whenever a political party receives such funds, it's supposed to report it to INEC and remit those monies to INEC. Now, that's the starting point. But when we say funding, there are different aspects of the funding we'll look at it. We'll look at.
You know, sorry to cut you. What the diasporan, because yes, what the money they want to support,
yes,
because all of this is being done by his sport group.
Yes.
So they say they are supporting with some of $150 million, and then here at home here about 100 billion. So
Yes.
those are the issues.
Good. So the question is, Nigerians living in diaspora, could we interpret this literally to be international funding? It's arguable. Some people will say, oh, these are Nigerians, these are citizens of Nigeria who are domiciled abroad, so you can't properly so call them international funding.
Yeah.
Some people have also argued that once the person is not domiciled in Nigeria, any funding the person is bringing in is international.
Yes.
Those are matters for the courts to decide. But to my mind, the essence, the spirit, the intention behind the constitutional prohibition of international funding of political parties is state security.
Okay.
The other way to look at it is this. What the Constitution prohibits is funding of political parties.
Okay.
Now,
because, yes,
can we separate that from funding of the candidates? The candidate is separate from his party. Okay? So if we say we are funding Peter Obi, for instance, is it the same conversation as funding the Labour Party? If we make our donations to Mr. Peter Obi as an individual, if you look at the letters of the Constitution and also the provisions of the Electoral Act, it is aimed at political parties. The regulation is at political parties.
Yes.
The circumscription is on political parties. Okay, and that's why INEC is involved. But does that provision extend to the candidate? Is the candidate at liberty to go and source for his funding, separate from his political party? Those are questions which I really believe the courts should be able to decide. But given the generic, literal interpretation, a political party cannot receive funds from outside Nigeria. And even within Nigeria, there are limitations on how much a political party can raise.
No, let's get it very straight here.
Okay.
Now, let's limit it to political parties before
Yes.
we even talk about the candidates.
Yes.
Yes. Now, can that support be given to a political party within the country? Let's get it straight.
Yes. So among Nigerians, yeah, why not? You can always provide financial support to political parties. You can always make contributions. You can always raise funds. The law fully supports that.
Okay, but so somebody, of course, the other Nigerian in the street might want to ask the question, fun is fun. Yes, so what I know you've mentioned the issue of state security and all of that, but the other Nigerian will still understand, of course, the layman will say, well, actually fun is fun. So if you can support the political party at home, so why not allow the diasporan to do that as well?
Yes, so like I had mentioned earlier, the problem with the diaspora is intention. Okay? Intention is everything in this kind of conversation. The Nigerian on the street wants good governance. I've seen situations, I've seen rallies where people will just go and cook food and bring to rallies, print t-shirts and bring to rallies just to support the political party they have interest in. That's fine. But where foreign bodies or foreign interests now begin to sponsor, you'll find out that it's very easy. If there's no restriction in place, then it's very easy to have third-party funding of political parties by international interests. And that could be, for instance, China can say, oh, if Mr. Peter Obi becomes president, Mr. Peter Obi is a big importer from China and he has a good relationship with the Chinese government, they can now arrange a funding, okay, to support him to capture state power. And by capturing state power, he promotes their interest. And then Russia says, oh, they also have an interest in the Nigerian state, and the Russian government does that. You see that Nigeria becomes a turf for international players to be buying and selling. Okay, so I think it makes sense. I agree with the regulation that political parties should be confined to the funding within the country.
Within the country.
Although this is without prejudice to the rights of the diasporans, who are equal stakeholders in the country. Because if a person who is Nigerian is working abroad, I don't see a reason why we should say, oh, this person should not be able to fund his political party. Another aspect of this is the channel through which this money is funded. The channel. Because if a diasporan who has an account in Nigeria transfers United States dollars from his account in the United States to his account in Nigeria, and then from there makes the donation to the political party, can we really say that that is international funding?
Good. Now that is where another question is coming in, because now is it possible for you to have maybe an organization, okay, maybe whatever funding is coming from outside, funding an organization here in the country, and then the organization decides to support the party, fund coming down from outside, then to an organization here, and the organization decides to support the party? What's the discrepancy?
So that's also a problem, and I believe that the law also frowns at that. My reason is this: every organization, every company, every NGO, whatever it is, has a domicile, has a country of origin. Okay. Now, if funds are originating in financial matters, there's something they call tracing. Okay, you always, that money is paid into a campaign organization. It's not the person who is paying the money in that is necessarily the source of that fund. That money could be traced back to the origin, the foundation where that money took off from. Okay, if for instance that you trace that funds and see that that money is from Hezbollah or is from one of these radical extremist group who paid it into a company in Nigeria, and the company in Nigeria now remitting it to the political party, you see that that's the intention of the Constitution and the Electoral Act to restrict source of to restrict international funding is being circumscribed or being manipulated. So the law will also lift the veil in the circumstance to stress the actual origin of such funds. So I still don't agree that you have an interest abroad, the money is put to a Nigerian account and then paid. I believe that the provisions of the law, of the Electoral Act and the Constitution have been infringed in this respect. Except we can show that this is a Nigerian, okay, we're talking about the origin of these funds, that this is a Nigerian carrying on business in America, okay, and has the capacity, okay, to fund the political party, okay.
So that one will be allowed by the law.
That's my understanding, because it's the provisions of the law.
Because what the law says, of course, the section that was brought into the 225 of the Constitution, and then 85 of the Electoral Act, of course, saying no fund, should be sent from outside of the country into any political party. If that is done, the political party must report to ANI within 21 days or something, and then whatever you have to fulfill the fund, something like that, because it is a no. Okay. Now, if for instance you have now somebody might want to ask questions again. What is the difference? Because the focus is on political parties. It should not go to political parties. But the supporters of Obinna, because his whole case came into funding for political parties has been there ongoing. 2015, we saw where Buhari was also
giving accounts,
of course,
for APC members in the diaspora to contribute to the funding.
Some of us even sent 100 naira recharge card and all of those stuff, But now, what is, because if you are saying don't support the political party, support the candidate. The candidate is under the political party.
Correct.
What's the difference? Because if you are supporting the candidate takes the money, the political parties handle the whole thing, then what's the difference?
You see, that's an issue too. Like I had mentioned earlier, the law prohibits the political party. The political party is the one that has the restriction. The restriction is not on the candidate. Depends on how these funds are utilized. Okay? If, for instance, Obi has been doing consultations, okay? Now, these consultations are in a personal capacity. Yes, he's the candidate of the Labour Party, but he has been going from country to country, state to state, doing consultation. These trips cost money. He's moving with an entourage. He's has hotel reservations to pay for, flight tickets to pay for, logistics to pay for. Now, in that personal capacity, those funds being used, to my mind, are not those which are contemplated by the Constitution and the Electoral Act. Okay. That's to my mind. However, when it comes to activities that directly relate to campaign funding, okay, that's where the provisions of the law kicks in. So that's where you're now dealing directly with the political party. So activities which are not conducted by the political party, can they be said to be caught up by this campaign funding? I'll give you an example. Supporters of Labour Party, they are not members of Labour Party, but they have decided to spend $1 million on a rally. The party did not participate in it, but they call themselves supporters of Labour Party.
The Constitution doesn't front with that.
The question is, which law? They are not members of Labour Party. They've branded themselves supporters of Labour Party. They have foreign funding. They print Labour Party logos on their shirts and move around during the campaign period, encouraging people to vote for Labour Party, vote for Labour Party. Okay? This is not an activity of the political party. The political party cannot tell them, oh, don't campaign for us. Can that be said to be funds of the political party?
Well,
did those funds come through the political party? Or is the political party in control of that funding? To my mind, what the law envisages are actions that are in the direct control of the political party. If the political party is not the one organizing the rally, if the political party is not the one funding the rally, I do not think the political party are in a position to control what sympathizers do in terms of campaign funding. Except you can show that there was an express or implied consent of the leadership of the political party to undertake or participate in that activity.
Should there not be an express consent by him? Because the supporters just go ahead to do something without
his consent. So I tell you this for free. 90% of the rallies going on for Peter Obi, he has no idea of who the organizers are, how it is organized, when it is organized. It's a movement of the people. It's an organic movement. Mr. Peter Obi has no idea. He knows nothing about it. 90%. I agree there are those he knows about, or those the Labour Party know about. But the majority of those movements you're seeing on the streets are a movement of the people.
All right, Barrister. I've been speaking with Barrister Obinna Onya, the Assistant Head of Brazil Chamber. Thanks for being with us in the program today.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And that's all we can take today on the program 7 Legal. Join us sometime next week while we bring you more interesting conversation.